Canada put considerable effort into improving outcomes for vulnerable individuals. In 2019, specific measures were introduced to help migrant workers. Canada's economic growth has been tremendous due to the following reasons. The gain of human capital. Canada is the most open country in the world for immigrants, welcoming newcomers from 175 countries each year. Canada expects immigrants to help satisfy labor market needs, which in turn stimulates economic growth. Immigration also helps to meet specific regional labor market needs, especially through the provincial nominee programs. When immigrants come to Canada, they become part of the consumer market and they pay taxes. This means that they contribute to the economy and they increase the productive capacity of the region. A recent immigration report shows that Canada's economy has benefited from solid gains in the size of the labor pool, largely due to immigration. Its effect on Canada's GDP. Well, Canada runs over 70 different types of programs to attract immigrants. Currently, Canada's economy is growing at a modest rate of 1.5% annually. Studies have found that Canada does have greater trade relations with those nations that have provided large number of immigrants. Canada's economy is heavily centered in international trade, which accounted for 31.4% of the GDP. In 2019, Canada has had major trade relations not only with India, but also with other developed countries. I'm sorry, go on.
India receives more remittances from migrants than any other country. With Indians migrating to Canada at a speedy rate, it is vital to understand and analyze the possible consequences in India and the cost benefits at both social and economic level. People and students migrating to Canada tend to settle down there. They get used to their new lifestyle and lose interest in their home country. This may be due to the reasons which we have already mentioned. This further leads to emotional impact on those families who cannot immigrate along with the people who is migrating. The economic impact of the international migration on Canada has been primarily shaped by two key channels, human and finance. The loss of human capital. Loss of highly skilled labor has been a negative impact on the economy with reducing supply of personnel capable of running organization. Effect on the India's GDP. Even today, approximately $60 billion is sent by Indian immigrants to families and friends in India, amounting to roughly 3% of the country's GDP, according to the World Bank estimates. Following the onset of the 1991 reform, NRI deposits grew rapidly, accounting for nearly 10%, $37 billion of the addition of the foreign exchange receipts in the last 2 decades. Now, as a part of our study, a comparison has been made between Canada and India. As we can see from the table, India's population as well as GDP is way higher than that of Canada. But Canada's quality of life index, safety index, and purchasing power continues to remain way higher than that of India. This is mainly because of the rate of population in India is growing at an increasing faster rate than the growth of goods and services. Also, as the graph shows, the unemployment rate of India is increasing by 0.03%, whereas that of Canada is decreasing by 0.27%.
We are adopting McKinsey's 7S management model in order to bring the innovative changes in our country for the betterment of its people and the country as a whole. The 7S's that we are going to concentrate on are stable political system. Canada has a more stable government with less corruption. The Canadian government has relatively centrist stances on hot button issues such as women's and LGBTQ+ rights, environmental concerns, and immigration. India, being a conservative country with high literacy rate, results in higher political gamble and corruption. So, India should adopt ideologies from the Canadian political system, wherein more people are educated about the political system, its working, and along with it, ethics which will help in scaling down corruption and improving stability. Scholasticism. Every province of Canada has made education compulsory up to the age of 16. Their education system provides practical experiences that are often useful in everyday lives. Public-private participation is very high in Canada, which leads to higher quality of education and also provides fair salaries to their teaching professionals. In India, the government has made education compulsory till the age of 14, but there is a huge dropout because of lack of interest and availability of resources. India's education system is theoretical in nature and focuses on techniques like rote memory. Also, teachers are less motivated, majorly due to low remuneration given to them. In India, we could adopt from the Canadian education system, wherein more practical knowledge could be inculcated among the students. The government could create better schooling facilities in both rural and urban areas, thus ensuring a superior quality of education and higher payments to teaching professionals. Systematic banking. Canada's banking system has a strong global reputation for reliability and safety due to the Canada's sound regulatory framework, efficient workers, and flow of currency. In India, due to the insufficient banking knowledge of people from rural areas, they depend on money lenders and middlemen instead of banks. Though online banking is growing at a faster rate, the people are still skeptical to use it due to lack of trust and fear of frauds. Like Canada, India could also conduct workshops and training programs, especially in the rural areas, to enhance the banking knowledge and further uplift the banking sector. Additionally, this will help in improving efficiency and accountability in the banking system. Salubrious. Canada's healthcare system is publicly funded, which is known as Medicare, a model of universal health coverage. Healthcare has become more of a business in India now and is unaffordable for people belonging to lower income groups. The lack of basic medical facilities in rural areas and poor sanitation in government hospital adds to the adversities of the patients. Like in Canada, India could also adopt public private participation in the Canadian Medicare Universal Healthcare Policy, in which healthcare needs of the rural and urban areas can be covered while providing medical services at low cost. Also, the government should take serious measures to build hospitals and healthcare centers in rural areas to provide quick medical assistance more efficiently and effectively. Safety and security. Canada ranks 8th in the list of countries for safety and security. It is because of this reason Canada has a high happiness index. India's homicide rate is 4.5 per 100,000. Apart from which, there are also cases of human trafficking, rape, child abuse, and gun violence. India also has created various laws in order to safeguard its citizens, but unfortunately, they are not implemented and adhered to properly. Like in Canada, the Indian government needs to strengthen and properly execute their privacy policies to safeguard the privacy of individuals and provide them with the right of access to personal information. The process of conviction to increase the coherence of case solving needs to be expedited in the fast track courts in India. Sector development. Canada's agriculture sector uses up to date technology, which has led to higher productivity. Their industrial sector is highly advanced. The tertiary sector is also well developed and structured, leading to the development of entire sector as a whole. Whereas in India, the agriculture sector focuses more on traditional ways of farming. The industrial sector is still dependent on imports for machinery. The tertiary sector is well developed, but it could do better with the help of development provided by the industrial sector. Since Canada has developed all its sectors, India could adopt agriculture marketing programs regulations from Canada, where the farmers could use better agriculture equipments to increase productivity and can earn better returns for their produce. To improve the industrial sector, like Canada, India should reduce their dependence on imports and focus more on self manufacturing of these machinery. Stability of lifestyle. Canada is a progressive country and has number of policies to protect and safeguard the economy as a whole. Canada's government finances all three sectors. The development of these sectors had led to more productivity of goods and services, higher per capita income, and better standard of living. On the other hand, in India, the secondary sector is still not developed. The agriculture sector is overly populated, due to which there is low productivity of goods and services. India's population is increasing at an exponential rate than the growth rate in the production of goods and services, which has led to a low per capita income and low standard of living. So, India could adopt policies like Canada Business Corporation Act and the Agriculture Marketing Programs regulation from the Government of Canada to increase the production of goods and services so as to increase the standard of living and further improve the per capita income.
To sum things up, migration is an equilibrium process which reduces regional disparities at different stages of development. Despite interruptions caused by the coronavirus pandemic, it was reported that many Indians still wanted to begin their studies in the fall of 2020. Amidst the pandemic, Canada has introduced many policies to help accommodate the immigration goals of people around the world. Though selection of economic immigrants has been refined and integration programs developed to reduce the gap, these measures need to be taken further and implemented in our country so as to reduce the brain drain that occurs between Canada and India. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Team Canada, for that presentation. I'd like to invite questions from the floor from participants in the conference to the Team Canada members. Thank you.
Professor Martin, we have to ask the first questions from the judge.
Right.
And
you are?
yes, and we have Mr. Hitesh Aswani, who will ask Team Canada for their ask them the first question. The first question is from the judge and then from the other teams.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, it was a great presentation, and I think it has convinced me to go back to Canada. So, so it's a great one. But some questions to you. Like, I have only one questions for one of the team to ask. Why do you think Canada has better systematic banking system than India? We are way advanced in banking systems and technology in line with UK and USA.
Respected sir, thank you for the question. I do agree with you that India is taking lots of steps to improve the banking sector of our country. But the flow of currency in Canada has led to security and systematic banking services over there. If we focus in our country, the rural side of our country. While if we compare that with Canada, the entire country uses banking system. Their flow of currency is advanced, and because of which their banking system is more reliable. Their regulatory framework and efficient workers also adds up to this, because of which the Canada's banking system is people can take advantages of lots of banking policies and services provided from them. For example, the SBI policy that came very recently, in which every citizen of our country can earn up to 10,000 rupees, the interest of 10,000 rupees. We need to increase that sort of awareness only in our country, and we want to bring that sort of awareness. We want to inculcate that sort of education among the crowd of this country, among the population of this country, to enhance our banking system.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Fair enough.
Team Bulgaria, can we have your question?
Yes. How COVID-19 affected migration in Canada?
So COVID-19 has obviously affected all the immigration to all the countries. But Canada has come up with new policies to welcome more immigrants, especially focusing more on students. So we also mentioned that there was an plan. Canada is planning to increase its immigration for specifically for Indians.
Thank you for your question.
Team Australia, can we have your question? Team Australia, are you with us?
Yeah, ma'am. First of all, a very good presentation. Kudos to you all. asked a question was how can you prevent the brain drain that happens to Canada? Because as your presentation pointed out that many of the immigrants who immigrated to Canada happen to be from India. So how do you all suggest to prevent the brain drain from India to Canada?
So in our solution, we have come up with a McKinsey model, which has all the solutions that we need to stop the brain drain. One of them is, improve the banking system, improve the education system, and bring more practicality into our education system, and more better healthcare system, and better job opportunities. And the educated unemployment rate in India is really high right now. So we also need to work on that.
Okay, thank you so much for answering our question.
Team Turkey, can we have your question, please?
Good evening, everyone. Team Canada, that was a beautiful presentation. Our question to you is, how has Canada met with the increasing job demand because of the increase in migrants in Canada?
The Government of Canada offers employment insurance with regular benefits which provide temporary financial assistance to workers who have lost their jobs for the reason outside their control. While they look for work or upgrade their skills provided, they have been provided for 52 weeks or since the start of their last claim of unemployment. They are paid EI, which is employment insurance premium, and have accumulated a number of hours of insurable employment.
Team Germany, can we have your question?
First of all, Team Canada, congratulations for such a wonderful presentation. So Team Germany would like to ask you all, why are Indians primarily drawn towards Canada? And if Canada is so conducive, why are other countries not exploiting the opportunities Canada has to offer?
So obviously, like a lot of Indians are attracted towards Canada because the lifestyle, the education system. It has the world's best universities, and obviously the healthcare system. They have a Medicaid system which provides them free healthcare, and obviously like there are a lot of things which which are very really attractive, and that's why a lot of Indians migrate to Canada. And that is the thing that makes Canada stands out. And also the PR policies, they have a lot of PR policies, like the express entry system that we mentioned about in our PPT, which those are really attracting factors that that's why the Indians migrate to Canada. And no other country is providing such opportunities to Indian immigrants. And also the Canadians are really accepting of the Indian immigrants, and they have a good social life over there. Yeah.
Adding on to it, also the government of Canada, through the Department of Immigration, Refugee and Citizen, have put considerable efforts into improving the outcome of vulnerable individuals, this is the first country which has done this.
Team USA, can we have your question?
Yeah, thanks for the outstanding presentation from Canada. So I would like to ask, what kind of policy does Canada provide to asylum seekers?
So the Refugee Act adopted by the Government of Canada provides good healthcare, job opportunities for the refugees. So so the act provides a lot of job opportunities to provide financial assistance to them, and also provide them with food and basic necessities of life. And Canada has the strongest refugee policies among, like, as compared to other countries. It has the strongest refugee policies.
Adding on to it, I would also like to mention that Canada is a signatory of the United Nations 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees. So basically, even if refugees do come in in contravention of the law, I mean, they can basically, in order to seek protection, I mean, so basically, like they cannot be fined and like stuff like that.
Team UK, Team United Kingdom, can we have your question?
My question is, why is unemployment rate decreasing in Canada as compared to India?
The rate of unemployment is decreasing in Canada because the government of Canada is offering employment uninsurance, which provide temporary financial assistance.
Adding
Thank
up to
you.
this, I'm sorry, but I would like to add up to this. The sector development in Canada is really advanced, which creates more job opportunities for the citizens of that countries, along with the refugees and the immigrants also, which creates more opportunities for employment, which is adding up to decreasing of the unemployment rate of Canada.
Adding to that, the tech sector is the fastest growing industry in Canada, which is inviting highly skilled workers. So that is one of the major reasons why unemployment is decreasing in Canada.
Thank
Team
you.
France. Team France, can we have your question?
Yes, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes,
Team Canada,
yes.
am I
Go
audible?
ahead. Yes, you're audible.
First of all, a very good presentation from you guys. So my question is, as stated by you, if the schooling system in India is really broken, then why do Canada admits workers in high-skilled areas of the country's economy?
Can you repeat your question, Team France?
Yeah, sure. My question is, if the schooling system in India is really broken, as shown by you in PPT, and you claim that the Canada education system is very good, then why do immigrants comes to India, Canada, and they admit them in the top priority sectors as stated by you, if the schooling system and the skills developed by them are really good?
So the education system in India is not broken. We are already studying over here. So it's not broken. It needs improvement. We focus more on theory. We want more of practical studies in our curriculum. So that is what is provided over there in Canada. And practical learning is the need of the hour. And we all know that. That is the main factor that Canadian universities rank in the world university rankings. And obviously, Canada's labor pool is really small, and so that's why they invite immigrants to come and work with them.
Adding up to this, if you want to work in Canada and if you want to seek admission in Canadian universities, you need to have high proficiency in language. You should have proficiency speaking and writing communication skills, which adds up to your skill set, and which is why you ensure a job opportunity and education opportunities over there.
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
And finally, we have Team India. Can we have your question?
First of all, that was a wonderful presentation, Team Canada. I would like to ask you, how does Canada attract migrants despite of harsh climatic conditions?
I think Canada is the Great White North, and the lifestyle, the cleanliness, and everything is so good over there. And I think climate is not a bigger reason that we factor into when we decide to go over there and study. It's the education system, it's the university rankings, it's the job opportunities which Canada stands out in.
adding to this, according to World Health Organization, the Canada's air quality is ranked among the top 3 in the world, because of which to go there, being a part of that country, living over there, seeking job opportunity and studying over there adds up to that, and is one of the reason why Indian students migrate over there. So the quality of natural climate and the quality of air in Canada adds up to the reason why Indian fly over there, and this is the reason they have a good climatic condition in Canada.
Adding to that, Canada has a really high happiness index. Not just that, and for points we have already mentioned in the presentation, for example, the academic, all the major points that come under, that can broadly be categorized into academic, employment, and lifestyle are the ones that push Indians to migrate from India to Canada.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer.
Yes, so we have completed the judges' question and the questions from all the other teams. Dr. Martin, I request you to give your views, your observation, and your suggestions to the presenting teams and the teams who have asked the questions. Please, sir.
I'd be delighted to do so. Thank you. So congratulations to Team Canada for your presentation and the quality of that delivery. There were some things that I felt you did particularly well this evening. First thing was great passion and great energy in the delivery. I thought it really did come across that you believed strongly in the subject that you'd researched. So there was excellent evidence of scholarly endeavour in your presentation too. So lots of material, lots of data, lots of hard data, lots of reference to underpinning knowledge. So that was good, and a wide-ranging coverage of various different themes within the overall topic. You adopted a very effective and a very clear structure with measured delivery in each of the sections, and that within that you took a very well-balanced and fair coverage. It was given to each of those main themes and sub-themes that you explored. So nothing was really kind of stood out as being overly focused upon. So that was good. I thought your responses to questions were great. You know, it's very, very natural, very considered, and very detailed. So that was excellent. The overall narrative, the story you were telling was systematic and logical, which and storytelling in research is part of the value that we bring. So telling this, you know, it's all very well having having some great findings, but if you cannot tell the story, then know about it. So well done for telling the story very nicely. You used some excellent analogies in the paper and some good examples to illustrate the points that you put forward. And just in terms of things you did well, you all came across as well prepared, well presented, and highly professional. So great job, well done. Now, things you might consider doing even better next time. Looking at the reference list of your paper, I wonder if perhaps you might include some more, you know, specifically academic sources. There was a lot of reference to web-based materials. So academic journals are a good source of support and evidence to back up the things and to deepen our knowledge around the subject. At the start of the process, I think it's always good to start with a very clear question, you know, that your research is intended to address. And I felt that perhaps got a little bit overlooked, so that could be done better next time. And maybe you could consider using case study examples in a narrative like this. You know, tell the story of somebody who's done the journey from India to Canada. That would help to add some colour to the story. Okay, that's my feedback in terms of the presentation. In terms of the subject area, and just as a way of finishing off my contribution, I've got to say that I believe that migration is a topic of major academic, economic, and human interest. And even more so now in the 21st century, when everybody can see how everybody else in the world is living and experiencing the fruits of being human. So, and the internet is playing an even greater role in exposing how other people live. So It's also a vital a vital topic from the perspective of the inequities that exist in the world at the present time. There's a gentleman called Joseph Stiglitz, who's a renowned author, a Nobel Prize winner, and economist. And his research has identified that the 1% of the Earth's population have assets and resources. So that's the richest 1%. Assets and resources that are worth twice as much as the combined assets and resources of the rest of us. Now, that is clearly an unsustainable imbalance in terms of economic distribution of the resources of the planet. And I believe that the study of migration and the further mixing of people from multiple cultures may be a way in which we can start to address the inequities and start to understand how to reduce that imbalance so that everybody on the planet gets a fair deal. Now, last thing I'd like to say is I'm delighted to have been part of this research conference. I think it's a fantastic illustration of the power of critical endeavour. So I'd like to offer these remarks to everybody taking part in the conference from the student perspective, because remember this, you are the future of our planet, and the power of your ideas, your energy, and your drive to make a difference to this world should never be underestimated. Research into social issues affecting humanity, such as migration, I believe is an excellent focus for your energies. So I'd like to commend you, Team Canada in particular, but all of the teams taking part in the conference for your excellent work. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Martin, for your valuable observations and your suggestions, and I'm sure the students will definitely incorporate it in their future research. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you, sir. Dr. Sunil?
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Professor Martin, for being with us.
It's my great honor. Thank you.
Yes, next we have Team Bulgaria. May I know who will be sharing the screen from Team Bulgaria?
Yes, I can share my screen.
Okay. Technical team, Devaj or Neha? Please make this, I have put my cursor on this. It is in their regional language. Can you see it? Team Bulgaria, but then it's a different language. It's their language.
It's me. Sorry, it's on my language. I forgot to change it.
Neha, can you see? Yes, yes. Please make her the co-host so that she can share her screen.
Professor Usha.
Yes.
We are waiting for the chairperson to join the session.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll make her the co-host and we'll be ready. No? Yeah, just let me know when the chairperson joins. Neha, have you got the correct person?
Just a second.
Have you been made the co-host? Uh, I do not know what is her name. Veronica, could you tell me what is her name?
Hello, you asked the name of chairperson?
No. This particular student's name, because we have to make her.
Eudora, who will share the screen.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
She's got
thank
to.
you.
She's making share the screen. Thank you.
Yes, can you see my screen now?
Yes, absolutely. Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, Sunil, sir, no, please, it's not here. We just wanted to keep it ready. The chairperson of your session hasn't joined us because we are before time. We have about 3 minutes more for him to join. Sunil, sir, as a chairperson for the.
Not yet. Till still 2 minutes are there. Let's wait for her.
Okay, yes.
to tuj na tisna kunuj bre.
Professor Usha, I think Professor Vanya has joined.
Yeah, Professor
Okay.
Vanya,
The
have a
chairperson for
question.
the next session, she has joined us.
Okay. Welcome, Professor Vanya. And
Thank you very much. I'm very sorry that I was late, but the technology is some difficult for me. I'm very sorry again.
no problem. You are in time, madam. You are in time. Thank you so much. Team Bulgaria, if you're ready, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so your time starts now.
Professor Usha.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I request Dr. Sunil Dalchintani to introduce the chairperson of the session.
Okay, we are glad to have Professor Vanya Kuzdova Banabakova from Vasil Levski National Military University, Bulgaria. She has been the lecturer since 1994 and has the total experience of more than 25 years. She obtained her PhD in 2002 and another doctoral degree in 2020. The main directions of her research interests and taught disciplines are in the field of logistics and economics as well as marketing. She has over 160 publications, of which 5 monographs, 4 studies, 28 articles, 113 papers, and 10 books for students, of which 50 have been published abroad. She is a member of the scientific committees of a number of journals and conferences in Bulgaria, Romania, and Poland. Since 2010, she has been the chairman of the economics section of the Union of Scientists in Bulgaria, Veliko branch. Since 2011, she has also been appointed as the faculty coordinator for Erasmus Plus program. We are glad to have Professor Vanya with us for this technical session. Welcome, Professor Vanya at the 28th International Economics Convention hosted by CHM College under the aegis of Hyderabad's International Collegiate Board. Over to you, Professor Usha.
Thank you so much, sir. Welcome, Professor Vanya and Team Bulgaria. If you are ready, your time starts now.
Yes. The first, I would like to tell you that, dear colleague and dear students, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to participate in this scientific forum. It is an honor for me to be a part of this convention. I'd like to congratulate you on the initiative to organize this forum with the participation of students, because of it's extremely useful for their future development and implementation. And now, please, the Bulgarian team that was made the study on the topic economics of migration in Bulgaria, a specific migration model in a small post-communist country in the European Union, to make their presentation. Please.
Dear principal, professors, students, we are happy to participate in today's conference, and the title of our presentation is Economics of Migration in Bulgaria, a specific model in a small post-communist country in the European Union. Here you can see our Bulgarian team, as you already met us before. Here you see where Bulgaria is located on the European map. We are flagging that the country is part of the European Union from 2007, and the population is around 7 million people. In the thesis of our research is the specific model of migration Bulgarians have, which is different as the ones you are familiar with in the larger European countries. The reason for this is that Bulgaria is a small post-communist country which has specific trends and factors influencing the migration. The main reason Bulgaria to have that specific model is that until 1989, it was a part of the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance and the Soviet Union influence. During this period, the free traveling abroad was almost forbidden. Also, the government and all public services were ruled only by one party, the Bulgarian Communistic one. After 1989, like the other countries which are released from the Soviet Union impact, Bulgaria also was trying to open its borders for free traveling, market systems, and fully democratic government. But this led the country to a lot of crises, bankruptcy, rapidly rising inflation, and this caused the reason most of the Bulgarians decided to search for a better life abroad. For the 30 years period, from 1990 to 2020, Bulgaria have around 1.1 million living abroad. Here, the expression is not only impacted from the migration process, but also that the population is getting smaller because of the low population, birth rates, and negative nature of growth, which is actually a familiar problem in Europe. On this right side, you can see the numbers of the immigrants split by years, where most of them are the first years of the changes. The difference between big and developed countries in West Europe and the smaller ex-communist one has diverse migration model. On the left side, you can see the European countries with the largest relative shares. There are small European countries with really high percentage of migrants, but they are not ex-communist countries. This fact confirms that our thesis, the Soviet Union impact is influencing of European countries. Clearly, on the right side, all of the ex-communist countries has the lowest percentage of accepted migrants. The countries which accepted highest rate of numbers migration are Italy, France, Spain, and United Kingdom. As it's known, most of the European countries have some typical demographics, such as birth rates,
who wants to go somewhere, I don't know where.
Negative nature of growth, aging local population, declining indigenous population. These trends outline a common issue for most European countries have tried to solve this problem by attracting migrants from Asia and Africa. But the major European countries receive the largest groups of migrants from Syria and Afghanistan. In this regard, the largest public attention was aroused by the speech of German Prime Minister Angela Merkel, who in 2050 directly invited refugees from Syria to Germany. Her actions provoked extremely mixed reactions in European countries. Some supported her, others disagreed with her actions and her attempt to define European Union policy on migrant issues and refugees in her own. Eventually, thousands of political and economic refugees from African and Asian countries headed to large and developed European countries such as Germany, transiting through countries such as Bulgaria, Greece, and Hungary. As a result, the migration profiles of large and rich European countries differ significantly in terms of the reception of refugees and their migration policy. After 2015, like other European countries that are the European's external border, Bulgaria was threatened by high migration pressure from illegal migrants coming from Turkey, moving towards Central Europe. Bulgaria lies on the so-called refugee route through the Eastern Mediterranean, which refers to illegally arriving migrants in Greece, Cyprus, and Bulgaria. In 2015, a large number of refugees seeking refuge from the war in Syria arrived in the European Union on this road. Over the last few years, the European Union and the European Council have produced a decisive response to migratory pressure. Since then, the number of illegal arrivals on this road has dropped significantly thanks to the European-Turkey cooperation. The migration profile in Bulgaria. It's the one before the accession to the European Union, where most of the Bulgarians were from in Turkey, USA, or Canada, and after our accession in the European Union in 2007, where the most emigrated were mainly to the nearly Western Central European countries as UK, Spain, and Germany. And also between the 1919 and the 2010, the number of people living to Bulgaria has the much higher than the number of arrivals. And in the last decade, there has been a process of reverse migration, return of people to Bulgaria, like the ratio of people settled in Bulgaria to those who left in 2010 is 1 to 8, and the one in 2019, the ratio is almost 1.1.
Now I will introduce on this slide how every country, including Bulgaria, has two main types of migration: internal within the country between the settlements and external between countries. Internal migration is an essential component in the economic and demographic development of the country. It has a direct impact on the territorial distribution of the population and its concentration in settlements. This influence is manifested through the settlements direct of migration. The main types of internal migration are from cities to village and from village to cities. The most common reason for the relocated of people to cities is the lack of employment in the village. The opposite reasons for the relocated to the village in the clean air, clean food, and proximity to nature. On this slide, in the upper right corner is Bulgarian village, and the photo below the first is over capital city of Bulgaria.
External migration is mainly associated with population emigration. After a ban on the free movement of people across the country's border for more than 40 years, a huge wave of emigration was triggered in 1989, which quickly reduced in scope in the following years. Forms of migration can be distinguished according to various factors, such as the reasons, the legal status of those affected or the duration. Some commonly used categories of migrants are, as you can see, migrants for temporary employment, also called guest workers, high-skilled migrants and business migrants, professionals who move within the international markets of transnational corporations and international organizations, irregular migrants, people who enter a country without the necessary documents and permits, forced migrants, refugees seeking refugee shelter, or people who are forced to relocate as a result of external factors such as armed conflict or environmental disasters. Family members who join their close relatives who have already migrated. Returned migrants, people who return to their countries of origin after spending time in another country. We have all types of migrants in Bulgaria, which are listed above, and they are included in our research. Emigration from Bulgaria after 1989, as a result of a number of factors, acquires mainly economic character and is significantly associated with labor migration. In the 1990s, there was a very difficult and painful transition in Bulgaria from a state plant to a market economy. The sharp decline in GDP, industrial production, and real wages has led to a sharp rise in unemployment and poverty, which have become a critical reason for emigration. After 1990, mostly Bulgarians emigrated to other countries because of low-paid work, because employers do not pay well, but at a later stage it is expensive because they have to pay more to find qualified people. The low cost of labor, the difficult access of young men and women to employment and professional careers will continue to stimulate their emigration and reduce the supply of skilled labor in national labor markets. Reasons for emigration of an economic nature. A certain role in this group of reasons is played by the so-called subjective feeling of poverty. In these cases, people who are objectively not poor by Bulgarian standards feel that way compared to other families or relatives and friends who have already migrated abroad, have a higher standard of living and can afford more. Political factors. The political instability in the short periods, the insufficient trust in the democratic potential in the development of the country also contribute to the emigration of the population, especially among the young. Social factors. The young part of the nation is living by The lots of programs from the European Union or the USA where they are starting to like their life, and even after education, they stay to live there for a longer term because of the higher paid labor hand. We pointed out common factors for immigration, but they differ in the reasons between young and old people. Reasons for immigration of young people. First of all, the different living standards and more precisely, the differences in economic living conditions, incomes, housing conditions, health and social insurance, etc. Emigration of the elderly, over 65 years. The main reason for the migration of older people is their desire to live with loved ones. The opportunity to help raise their grandchildren is a reason that makes many Bulgarians leave the country despite the language barrier.
So far, we have talked about immigration. We will look at the reasons for causes of immigration. Speaking of immigration in Bulgaria, includes both types, immigrant and refugee groups, whose residence status in the country is different. Our research showed until 2005, the immigration presence in Bulgaria was still relatively limited in size. It is determined by citizens of countries with lower economic and social development. As you see here, these are the causes of immigration. For Bulgarian immigrants are social factors. Among important social factors today which influence the attitudes of people to migrate to Bulgaria, we can outline the importance of the pandemic from COVID-19, which slowed global migration by nearly 30%. In 2020, the largest number of international migrants residents in Europe, a total of 87 million, but only 500,000 Bulgarians returned to Bulgaria from March to May. About the family, most of Bulgarians return because of the desire to be with their relatives and start a family in Bulgaria. But things for foreign immigrants have specific economic factors influence immigration in Bulgaria. They form over 95% of the total value of foreign investments and have a decisive impact on the country's economy. For most of them, the main goal of the investments is to live in Bulgaria, where they find more favorable living and business conditions. So in fact, there are a kind of economic immigrants. There are a lot of ecological factors which impact to the immigration. People foraging countries in which the environment is very polluted and poses risk to their health and safety come to live in Bulgaria. We have 4 seasons. Natural landmarks and mountain resorts are the main reasons why Bulgaria welcomes more and more immigrants every year. Also, many Bulgarian citizens return from a border to the village, rebuilding their rural properties, as well as investing in additional ones. Bulgarian nature is inquired. There are so many wonderful places in Bulgaria. For example, the 7 river lakes, Black Sea and the beautiful beaches, Bulgarian Rose, a symbol of beauty, love and health, Bansko ski resort, is located at northeastern foot of Pirin Mountain.
The social and economic impact of migration in Bulgaria has both the negative and the positive impacts, both social and economic. The strongest negative impact has the low level of wages and the high rates of unemployment, which inspire more migration outwards. During our research, we have concluded that in Bulgaria there is a salary saving paradox, which is simply explained by the slowing down of increasing wages, inspires more migration outwards, which causes a shortage in the labor market of qualified personnel, which causes the employers to increase wages, and experts assume that in the future the increase of wages will quadruple. The unemployment rate in Bulgaria is simply explained through the transition from a planned economy to a market economy, and the crisis is managed through migration rather than through government intervention, because during the 2000s, when there was a peak in unemployment, the migration rate skyrocketed. The income tax system in Bulgaria is a bit unique from the other countries in the European Union, rather than being a progressive income taxation system from the poor that don't have a tax, that don't have generated enough income, to the rich, where they have generated enough income and they're taxated more than the poor. In Bulgaria, it's an equal taxation. It doesn't matter what kind of income you have, it's 10%. Money transfers from Bulgarians abroad to Bulgaria has increased throughout the years, which is a good thing on social and economic level for Bulgaria. And it's a larger sum than the money living from Bulgaria to abroad. This is caused by Bulgarians who live abroad and they're sending money towards their family to help them support them economically and socially, so they can develop. The positive impact of immigration in Bulgaria is explained by the direct foreign investments from Bulgarians abroad and from foreign companies. The returning of Bulgarians who have studied abroad returns them with them being highly educated, and the returning Bulgarian workforce, which is also highly experienced. The increased number of immigrants allows Bulgaria to benefit from the cultural enrichment also. The negative social impact of migration through immigration is that the aging population continues to skyrocket, because by the time of 2050, every third Bulgarian will be at least 65 years old, and the average age of Bulgarian will go up, and changes in the social structure, in the ethnical structure also will be catastrophic. Dealing with the negative impacts of migration is for the government to incite a national strategy for the migration, the European institutions to implement common goals to reach for every European country, and developing a civil society and functioning non-governmental sector supporting the migration. Thank you for your attention.
I would like to thank you too. I'd like to tell to other teams to have to prepare for their presentation, because of when our session finish, they will have present their article as the next stage of our convention. So now, who would like, please ask questions to the team in connection with their presentation, please.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Team Bulgaria, can you stop sharing your screen?
Yes.
Team Bulgaria, can you stop? Yes, thank you. Madam, we will have the first question from the judges, and the judge who will ask the question is Dr. Arnachalam. Dr. Arnachalam, can we have your question for Team Bulgaria, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Very nice presentation. In fact, I did not expect this much small, students from Bulgaria present such a nice presentation. Just I want to ask, where Bulgarians are migrating to European Union or Canada or America or Southeast Asian countries, and after migration, why they're not coming back? After migration they're going outside. Whether they wanted to come back to Bulgaria to establish their own. Now it's free economy. after liberalization from Russia, Soviet Union, you are free country. Now you people are migrating to other parts of the world, but they're coming back to Bulgaria to establish their own, livelihood within Bulgaria. That's I want to know.
Thank you for your question. So the main reason here for this that they are not returning back is actually the first year of the releasing us from the Soviet Union. So as we explained that the free marketing, the free borders were great for Bulgaria, but also this causes a lot of crises because a country who has been 45 years under communist pressure and just imagine they open everything for tomorrow. So this democracy system is not established and the people can't know how to act really in this government pressure. And that's why most of them, the reasons were caused like inflation impacts and something like this. So most of the people decided to go in the United States, for example, where the demographic profile is really established. It's from like thousands of years or 100, and in Bulgaria was something new for us. So most of them got like scared from these changes and they just decided to went abroad. Many of them are coming back to see their relatives, but they are so used to the life abroad, so they can't settle like for the rest of their lives again in Bulgaria. They're just come to visit their families, but not most of them. I also have an aunt who is living in Chicago, and she hasn't coming back from 15 years from America. So they're just really used to their life abroad. I hope this is the answer.
Thank you very much, Theodora.
Yes.
Other questions to the Bulgarian team?
Yeah, we'll have questions from the other participating teams. So we will have Team Australia. Can we have your question, please?
Yes, a lovely presentation, Team Bulgaria. As you mentioned in your presentation, can you elaborate how is COVID-19 cause of immigration in Bulgaria?
Well, the pandemic situation actually made a lot of people who are young students and who just went abroad for studying or Erasmus programs or something like this to not go anywhere but to stay in Bulgaria. So in our research, we also found out that during the period from March 2020 until April or May 2020, we have a lot of people who just have returned to Bulgaria, maybe from they got like scared or the influence of the pandemic made them to feel better around their families. And most of the people who are planning to go abroad for a family trip or just to start education or a new life abroad in 2020 didn't do this, and they stayed in Bulgaria and made new plans.
Thank you so much.
Team Turkey, can we have your question?
Yes, a great presentation, Team Bulgaria. Team Turkey wants to ask you, if because of migration the population is increasing, then what measures are Bulgaria taking?
Excuse me, can you repeat your question?
Just an announcement. Please ask the question very slowly.
Yeah.
Because they won't be able to follow it. So please put your questions very slowly. Yes, can you please repeat your question? Yeah.
If because of migration the population is increasing, then what measures are Bulgaria taking?
I heard your question, but I think that you are mentioning that the migration who are coming back to Bulgaria costs increase in the population. So if is this your question, I can say that for now, as we can see, not really many difference because the pandemic is still on, and really most of the government is facing still the problems for the pandemic, and for the population we will have maybe some differences after a year period, something like this. I hope that it's the right answer for you.
Team Germany, can we have your question?
Yes. Firstly, congratulations to Team Bulgaria for such an amazing presentation. Team Germany would like to ask, how is Bulgaria trying to curb people from moving out of Bulgaria?
You're saying how they are trying to call them out or to not do this? Sorry.
How they're trying to prevent people from leaving Bulgaria.
Yes, I understand. Well, as we say in most of our research, is that the people who are willing to go abroad are the students, like the one who just graduated from high school, and they're trying to search better education abroad. So the education system year by year is trying to improve itself, and most of the students are really willing to stay and study in Bulgaria. Not to go to live abroad. Also, we have a lot of open markets for corporations who are coming to Bulgaria to investigate, and they are willing to hire young Bulgarian students. So this is also an opportunity for the young people to stay in Bulgaria, not to go abroad.
Okay, thank you.
Team USA, can we have your question?
Yes. All right. Thank you. And congratulations for Team Bulgaria. That was such a great presentation. And here is my question. Could you please give a brief explanation on how the psychological factors can become the reasons for the internal migration? Is it clear?
Team USA, your audio quality is poor. Could you repeat your question loudly?
All right. Am I audible right now?
Yes. Slowly.
All right.
Could you repeat your question slowly?
All right. I'm sorry. So here is the question. Could you please give a brief explanation on how the psychological factors can become the reasons for the internal migration? Thank you.
How can psychological reasons be a cause of internal migration? That's the question. He wants you to explain psychological reasons as a cause of internal migration.
Well, if we are talking about when the Bulgarians came to return back in Bulgaria, most of them was caused, as I said, during the pandemic from COVID-19, and this influence started like to a lot of people to decide to be next to their families, next to the city where they were born, and not going abroad because nothing was certain during the start of the pandemic and also nowadays.
Thank you.
Team United Kingdom, can we have your question?
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. So the question is, what is the most important reason for immigrants to migrate in Bulgaria?
As we said, for the immigrants who came from the eastern countries on the Bulgarian side, it's because we are the border from the Mediterranean. So most of the migrants who are trying to reach West European countries like UK and Germany, most of them are coming through our country. Some of them are staying, some of them are leaving again. So it's just most of where we are specific located on the map, maybe. And also, as you saw on the pictures, we have beautiful nature and views who most of the foreigners likes. And even though of the problems that we have, the usual life is calm. So most of the people like it.
Okay, thank you.
And it's cheap for the rest of the Europeans that use the euro, or the British that use the pounds.
Team France, can we have your question?
Yes, it was really nice presentation, guys. So
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So our question to you is, as you mentioned, by 2015, every third Bulgarian would be of the age of 65 years and above. So what, according to you, should be the government of Bulgaria do for those senior citizens?
Actually, the government should incite for a birth program to incite more birth rates, to incite also migration inwards from the neighboring countries of younger people and students especially.
Okay. Thank you.
Team India, can we have your question?
Yes, ma'am. As mentioned in the PPT, we would like to ask them that, do you suggest any changes in the taxation policy charged on the migrants?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, sure. We would like to ask you that, as you have mentioned in the PPT, the taxation charges charged on the migrants. Do you suggest any taxation changes?
Team India, Manasi, your question was not complete. Please repeat your question loudly, clearly, and slowly.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible now? Yeah. My question is that, as mentioned in the PPT, the taxation charges which are charged on the migrants. So are they trying to suggest any changes in those taxations?
Team Bulgaria, you have shown in your PPT that there are migration charges on migrants. So do you suggest any changes in those charges? That is the question.
Yes, I understand. Thank you. So about these charges, as I said, most of the people here are part of common consensus for migration programs. So these programs are the ones who are trying to make everything for the migrants better for them. So of course, taxation will be one of the things that will be different, but I can't assure you in which way.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for answering.
Team Canada, can we have your question, please?
Yes, ma'am. Congratulations, Team Bulgaria, for the prominent presentation. Team Canada would like to ask you, what are the policies framed by the government of Bulgaria to further uplift the micro and small enterprise sector, which can help in reducing the migration?
Well, as I said before, we have a lot of programs for foreign companies and industries who are welcome to come in Bulgaria, because here our value is cheaper than theirs, and they are really willing to investigate for their finance here. And also they are opening a lot of labors for young people, students who are willing to work for them. So this is one of the best opportunity for the abroads to come in Bulgaria and investigate in the labor market, and our students to work for them.
All right, thank you.
So we have finished all the questions for this team, for Team Bulgaria. I request Dr. Vanya to please give her valuable observations and suggestions to not only Team Bulgaria, but to all our other participants, which would be useful for them in their future research. Yes, madam. Madam, you have to unmute yourself. We are not able to hear you. Please unmute yourself.
Very sorry. I'm very sorry. Now I'm presenting my opinion on the research paper. The presented research paper is focused on the extremely relevant for Bulgaria and other European countries issue related to migration. The paper is developed in a total volume of 31 pages and includes an introduction, 2 paragraphs, conclusions, and a list of references. The results of study are presented in 3 tables and 9 figures. 31 sources were used, Bulgarian and foreign ones. The presented presentation now accurately reflects the content of the study. It touches on the most important elements of the article. The topicality and the significance of the topic of the paper are determined by the following prerequisites. For me, that is very important. In the last 30 years in Bulgaria, migration processes are an important element of the economic, social, and demographic development of the country. The second, these processes are not typical only for Bulgaria because of they are consequences of a more global phenomena, mainly related to the change of the model of the government and economy of the post-communist countries such as Bulgaria. The third, increased immigration leads to a number of economic, social, and demographic consequences, some with positive but others with negative effects. Global migration processes, mainly related to the country of the Middle East, pose Bulgaria a number of economic and humanitarian challenges and others. The introduction subtains the topicality of the issue and precisely defines the purpose, research thesis, and scope of the research. The main sources of information are indicated from the National Statistical Institute in Bulgaria, Eurostat, and publications of leading authors in the field. The paper is structured in 2 main analytical parts: profiling of Bulgaria and other countries in terms of migration processes and highlighting the main reasons in this direction. At the end of the study, the authors presented in-depth conclusions. The presented research leads to the achievement of the previously said goal aimed at analyzing the trends of emigration and immigration in Bulgaria, deriving the specific causes of migration processes and their impact in economic and social aspects. The thesis has been proved that the migration model in Bulgaria is specific and different from the migration models typical for large and developed European countries such as Germany, Great Britain, France, and Italy. The presented study has a number of positive aspects. The first, the study presents a true and accurate picture of migration processes in Bulgaria and makes a proper comparative analysis with other countries in Europe, divided into the groups of countries' economic and social leaders and smaller post-communist countries. The second, the migration processes that are extremely important for Bulgaria and their impact in economic, social, and demographic terms have been studied very well. The third, migration processes are divided into groups according to certain criteria and on this basis are analyzed in details. A long period of time has been analyzed from 2010 to 2020, but also a period of 30 years in some parts of the study, which allows the authors to derive the development trends, causes, and place of Bulgaria among the European countries in this process. A comparative analysis of the migration processes between Bulgaria and the leading European countries on the one hand, and Bulgaria and the other post-communist countries on the other hand. The analysis is based on a significant base of secondary information obtained from reliable sources. And the last, the formulate conclusions at the end of the research reflect the author's view of the considered processes. And as a remark, I can point out that is my opinion. I think that it is necessary to divide the country, the post-communist country, as small and large because of the problem, a reason for external migration processes is similar in Bulgaria, in Poland, in Romania, in Ukraine, and so on. Independent, for example, Poland, Ukraine, Romania, they are big country, but the problem with these migration processes and the consequences are the similar as Bulgaria. And in conclusion, the topic of the study is extremely topical and important for our country, Bulgaria, and the presented analysis accurately reflects the real state of the research problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, madam, for your detailed observation of their study and explaining to us the entire chapterization of their research paper. Thank you so much. And so we have finished for the day today. I thank all the teams who have completed their presentation. They must be relaxed. And those who have their presentations tomorrow, all the best to you. Thank you, judges, for being with us. Thank you, Dr. Vanya, Chairperson for Team Bulgaria. Just an announcement. Tomorrow we meet again exactly at 11:15 because the Secretary of the Board would like to address the teams, all the participating teams, and then we will begin at 11:30. So he couldn't join us this morning. He had some very important work and he had sent his apologies. So he would like to speak to all of us and wish the students tomorrow. So we join at 11:15 sharp. And 11:30, we start our presentations. We'll have the 5th technical session tomorrow at 11:30. Yes, so we'll have 4 teams. We'll have 4 teams tomorrow. And then we will have a 1-hour break.